Stop trusting gaming laptop brands. In 2026, they're all selling the same dream: better performance, better cooling, better value. Every company claims their laptop is the one you should buy. But here's what they don't want you to realize. The logo on the lid doesn't tell you how good a gaming laptop actually is. In fact, some of the most expensive laptops perform worse than cheaper competitors with the exact same hardware. So which brands are actually worth your money? Which ones are overrated? And which ones are quietly making some of the smartest gaming laptops you can buy? Where they cut corners and how to avoid making an expensive mistake. ASUS is everywhere right now, especially with its ROG lineup. And to be fair, a lot of that reputation is earned. ASUS pushes innovation harder than most. Their high-end machines often deliver excellent performance, strong cooling systems, and features that actually feel next-gen. When they get it right, they really get it right. But the problem is consistency. ASUS has a wide range of products, and not all of them live up to that premium image. Their budget-oriented models can feel like a completely different experience. Thermals might not be as refined, build quality can drop, and suddenly that trusted brand doesn't feel so reliable. Then there's support. Depending on where you are, after-sales service can be slow or frustrating. So while ASUS can absolutely deliver some of the best gaming laptops in 2026, it's not a brand you can trust blindly across every model. Then there's Lenovo, specifically the Legion series. This is the brand that doesn't try too hard to impress, and that's exactly why it works. Lenovo focuses on balance. Their laptops tend to have solid thermals, stable performance, and clean, practical designs that don't scream for attention. They're not always the thinnest or the flashiest, but they're dependable. In a market full of extremes, that consistency stands out. Of course, they're not perfect. Some models can feel bulky, battery life isn't groundbreaking, and the design is more functional than exciting. But if you're looking for a gaming laptop that just works without too many surprises, Lenovo has quietly become one of the safest choices in 2026. Alienware sits in a different category. It's the premium, almost luxury option in the gaming laptop world. The design is instantly recognizable, the materials feel high-end, and the overall experience is polished. You're not just buying a laptop, you're buying into a brand identity. And yes, performance is strong, but here's the catch. You're paying for that identity. Alienware laptops are often more expensive than competitors with similar specifications. The price-to-performance ratio isn't always great. What you do get in return is better build quality, a more refined ecosystem, and generally solid customer support. So Alienware isn't a bad choice. It's just a more expensive one. Whether that premium is worth it entirely depends on what you value. Now let's move into the brands that prioritize performance above everything else, sometimes at the cost of balance. MSI is a perfect example of this approach. If your goal is maximum performance for your money, MSI is often in the conversation. They tend to push higher power limits, which can translate into better gaming performance compared to similarly spec'd laptops. On paper and in benchmarks, that's impressive. But performance doesn't exist in a vacuum. More power usually means more heat, and MSI laptops are known for running hot under load. That heat leads to louder fans, potential thermal throttling over time, and in some cases, reduced longevity of components. Battery life is also not a strong point. So while MSI can deliver excellent raw performance, it often comes with compromises that you feel in day-to-day use. Then you have the value-focused brands, where things get a bit more unpredictable. Acer is one of the biggest names here, especially with its Predator and Nitro series. Acer has built a reputation for offering strong specs at lower prices, and that's absolutely true. You can often get a very powerful machine for less money compared to other brands. But there's a reason for that. Cost savings usually come from somewhere, and it often shows in build quality, materials, or cooling efficiency. Higher-end Predator models tend to be more refined, but the more budget-oriented Nitro line can be inconsistent. Some units perform great for the price, while others feel like corners were cut to hit a specific cost target. Acer isn't a bad choice. It's just a brand where research matters a lot more. HP's Omen series sits somewhere in the middle. Over the years, HP has improved significantly in the gaming space. Their designs are cleaner, thermals are better than they used to be, and performance is competitive. But consistency is still an issue. Some Omen laptops feel well built and thoughtfully designed, while others don't quite reach the same level. It's not a brand you can rely on without checking the specifics of the model you're buying. Like Acer, HP can offer great value, but it requires careful selection. And then there is the most controversial brand in this entire conversation, Razer. Razer laptops are probably the closest thing the gaming world has to a MacBook-style experience. They're sleek, minimal, and undeniably premium in terms of design. The build quality feels excellent, the materials are top tier, and they're some of the best-looking gaming laptops you can buy. But that premium experience comes at a cost, and not just in terms of price. Razer laptops are expensive, often significantly more than competitors with similar specs. And beyond the price, there have been ongoing concerns about long-term reliability. Issues like battery swelling and high repair costs have been reported over the years, and while improvements have been made, the concerns haven't completely disappeared. So with Razer, you're paying for design and portability as much as performance. For some people, that's worth it. At this point, you might notice a pattern. Every brand sounds good until you look closer. That's because the real truth isn't about brands, it's about compromises. Gaming laptops are inherently limited by physics. You're trying to fit powerful components into a relatively small, portable form. That creates challenges that no brand can fully solve. Heat management becomes difficult, which leads to louder fans and potential performance drops. Battery life suffers because powerful components consume more energy, and over time, wear and tear can affect performance in ways that aren't obvious at the start. No matter which brand you choose, you're going to experience some of these trade-offs. The difference is how well each brand manages them. So instead of asking which brand is the best, it makes more sense to think in terms of tiers. Some brands offer a better balance of performance, cooling, and reliability. Others push performance harder but sacrifice efficiency or comfort, and some focus on affordability, which introduces more variability. What really matters, and this is where most people get it wrong, is the specific model, not the brand. Within the same brand, you can have one laptop that's incredibly well designed and another that's full of compromises. Same logo, completely different experience. That's why relying on brand reputation alone is one of the biggest mistakes you can make when buying a gaming laptop. If you want to make a smart decision in 2026, you need to look beyond marketing. Pay attention to cooling design because that affects everything from performance to noise to longevity. Look at the actual power limits of the GPU, not just the name of the chip. Consider build quality, especially things like hinges and chassis materials that impact durability. And most importantly, look at real-world user feedback, not just first impressions, but what people are saying after months of use. Because at the end of the day, gaming laptop brands aren't necessarily trying to deceive you. They're just highlighting their strengths and downplaying their weaknesses. That's how marketing works. But once you understand that, you can start to see through it. So yes, gaming laptop brands in 2026 are exposed, but not because some are completely bad and others are perfect. They're exposed because they all operate within the same limitations, and they all make trade-offs in different ways. The real advantage goes to the buyer who understands those trade-offs and chooses based on what actually matters, not what looks the most impressive on paper. The next time you're about to spend serious money on a gaming laptop, don't just ask yourself which brand is the best. Ask yourself which machine is built the smartest for your needs, because that's the difference between a laptop that impresses you for a week and one that actually satisfies you for years.